Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to get into some pretty fascinating plant science, specifically hairy root culture. And we're lucky enough to have a single page that really breaks down the fundamentals.
Yeah, it's a dense page,
Yeah.
but it's got all the core concepts that underpin this whole field.
So this is really about getting back to basics, laying a solid foundation.
Hmm.
For someone who's like totally new to this,
Exactly. This is like the first principles stuff.
okay, so first principles. Let's start with like a working definition. What exactly is hairy root culture, according to our source?
So at its most basic, it's the process of growing plant roots in a lab. But there's a twist. The roots are genetically transformed by a bacterium called Agrobacterium rhizogenes.
Agrobacterium rhizogenes. All right, I'm writing that down. So it's not your typical root growth. This bacterium does something special.
Right. And the result is what we call hairy roots. They grow really fast, they branch like crazy, and
And they're independent, right? I remember that being a key point. Like they can grow on their own.
exactly. They don't need those added plant hormones in the growth medium, the ones that regular root cultures often require. They can actually thrive separately from the main shoot of the plant.
So that's what makes them stand out, right? It's not just the hairy look, it's this autonomy.
Totally. And it all boils down to the Agrobacterium rhizogenes. It transfers a bit of its own DNA, the tDNA, into the plant cell's nucleus.
Essentially reprogramming the plant in a way.
Yeah, you could say that. This tDNA has genes that mess with the plant's hormone balance. That's what leads to those unique hairy root traits we're talking about.
Okay, so I think I'm starting to get the bigger picture here, but I'm curious, why go through all this trouble? What's so special about these hairy roots?
Well, they're super valuable, especially in biotechnology. The way they grow, so rapidly and consistently, it makes them ideal for producing valuable compounds like secondary metabolites.
Secondary metabolites, I'm sensing a whole other deep dive episode right there.
Oh yeah, we could definitely go down that rabbit hole another time. But for now, just think of them as these special molecules plants make. Some of them have medicinal properties, some are used in fragrances, even natural dyes.
So by creating these hairy root cultures, we're basically setting up these mini factories for making all sorts of useful stuff.
That's a great way to put it. And the beauty is the production is really stable. Thanks to that initial genetic modification, they keep churning out these compounds in a controlled environment. No worries about weather, pests, all that.
Okay, so to recap, we have these hairy roots triggered by the Agrobacterium rhizogenes. They grow fast, don't need hormones, and they're like little gold mines for interesting compounds.
Exactly. You nailed it. That's
Yeah.
that's the essence of it. It's all about harnessing that unique growth and the potential for making these specialized metabolites.
And I guess the takeaway for our listeners is if you're going to delve deeper into plant-based production, you got to understand these principles first.
Absolutely. It's the foundation upon which everything else is built.
I mean, just thinking about it, if we can essentially tweak plant roots to produce specific compounds, like through this genetic change, it makes you wonder what other natural processes in plants could we influence?
That's a really good question. And, I don't have the answers, but it certainly sparks some interesting thoughts.
Well, on that note, gotta leave them wanting more, right? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the principles of hairy root culture. Until next time.